And welcome to Impact 2024. I continue a conversation where we talk about all types of different topics. We come at them from race, religion, current events, everything that you could possibly think of. And so we come to these topics, and this is our safe place where we have our conversations and we talk about the different things that are going on in the world. And as always, we have an opportunity for you to participate in the process, and that is by typing your questions and your comments into the comments section. And so, as always, we encourage people to type your comments in, type your questions in, be a part of the program, and be able not only just let us know how you feel, let us know if we're off base, if we are out of touch with reality, if I'm saying something crazy, or if you agree, or however that may be. But again, this is our continual conversation and your opportunity to join in on the conversation. All right. Um, and let's hop right into it. Some of you know about this, some of you don't. Right now, you can go out to the store. Let's say 7-Eleven. If you're here on the East Coast, you know what those are. You can go to 7-Eleven right now, and you can buy a lottery ticket. And a lottery ticket on one of the lottos, I don't know which ones they are. There's Mega Millions, and I think the Powerball is the other one. Well, one of them right now is worth $1 billion. The other one is worth $800 million. And that was when I checked. So those amounts may have gone way up, and since I checked. So if you win, or if somebody wins, they're gonna have a lot of money. And what you hear about a lot of people are talk about they talk about financial education. They say one of the first things you need to do is make sure that you have a little bit of financial knowledge about what to do. You should contact somebody like a financial advisor, or do whatever. And so the question that we have is about financial knowledge. It's about financial education. Where do you learn it? Where do you get it? You would think the places are in schools. However, what has been shown and what they say is that what many people have stated is that they don't teach financial literacy. They don't teach knowing about finances in school anymore. They don't teach banking. I remember when I was a little kid, they used to teach us how to write a check, how to manage a checkbook. That was one of our subjects in class. So we had fake checks, and we would go through. And for people of a certain age, you're not going to know anything that I'm talking about. But you would sit there and you would balance your checkbook. So you would write your checks, and you would write how much your check was, and you'd minus it off of how much your total balance was, or how much you thought you had in the bank, and you would just balance your checkbook, make sure you knew exactly how much money you had. And those were some of the things. But even furthermore, when I was a young person, I can remember my first really deep dive into financial literacy and financial education was when I was in the fourth grade, quite possibly the third grade. There was myself and there was this other young lady, and we were introduced to the stock market. And we were introduced to the stock market when they had it in the newspaper, and that was the only place you were going to get it. There was no CNBC, no business news, no Bloomberg. So what we had to do was go to the newspaper and look through. And that's when you would look in and you would see stocks, and they would be listed at a dollar amount and a fraction. So, a stock would cost $47.50, or $47.03, and you had to figure out what 3/16 meant. And the only way that you were going to purchase a stock was to go through a brokerage firm, where you paid a bunch of money to have them go ahead and purchase the stock for you. And that was my first introduction into it. And then from there to the age I am now, so from fourth grade all the way till now, there are a lot of other little things happening over the course of my life. But now I have a pretty comprehensive understanding of investing, stocks, all of that kind of stuff. But when I think about it, it was two people. It was me and this one other little girl. What about all the other people, the other 600 or so kids that were in the school? They didn't get introduced into that level of financial literacy, that level of investing and knowledge. So what about them? And so where do we teach financial literacy and knowledge? You mess around and you do win this Powerball or this Mega Millions, or whatever else you want to do, or you just take your regular paycheck. And where do you learn the knowledge? Now let's again first start at school, if that's what we should do. But this is a show where we talk about you Christian values, Christian things. We talk about race, and we talk about religion. Should it be taught in church as well? And I'll hit you with some stuff. You would think it's obvious. All right, this should be taught in school, it should be taught in church, it should be taught everywhere. But what you teach in school and how we teach it in church are going to be two totally separate things. In school, you learn about stuff in business, something called like EBITDA. That's earnings before income, taxes, and amortization. Now, in church, you're not going to learn that. You're going to learn EBITDA, which is going to be earnings before interest, taxes, amortization, and then also tithes and offering. And so it's going to be a different level of education. And so we got to understand and wonder about where we need to teach it. And so we have a teacher here, somebody in the educational realm who could talk about that. And so the primary question is, where should financial education be taught? Should we be teaching in schools? Should we be teaching the kids about investing? Should we be teaching the kids about saving for the future, different things, topics like that? The kids all love Bitcoin. Should we be teaching in the schools about Bitcoin and things like that? Is that going to be something productive for students? So I brought in the teacher. Hello, sir. This is Steve. So Steve, what's your feelings on this? What do you think? Should we be teaching financial literacy in schools?
Yeah, without a doubt, we definitely should. We teach all the other necessary things for everybody to have a efficient life. One of those, we teach. Back in our day, we had home ec, so you teach how, you were teaching students how to cook, how to sew. Math. You need to be able to, add and subtract. Why? Why do you need to add and subtract? Finances. You need to learn about your body, how your body functions with science and biology. We need to learn how the earth works, earth science. We need to learn the arts and, respect the different forms of art that people present. So you have to learn how to read. We have literacy. So, why do we need all of these things? So we can function in life. And one of the main things that we need to function in life are finances. You're not learning all of these things so you can be, living on the street.
Yeah.
So if we're learning all of these things, one big thing in the educational field is 21st century skills. What do you have? What are we preparing our students for in the 21st century? We're training them how to be entrepreneurs. We're training them how to be educators. We're training them how to fix things, engineers. We're trying, all of these things are jobs. And people work so that they can have a life. They can have a life and a life more abundantly, if you want to use the word. But so the root of all evil is money, and one of the reason why people covet money so much is because you need it. It's a necessity. We're not living in the ages where we're not living in the caveman ages, where you can just go outside, kill something and cook it on some rocks and wood. You actually, we have a society, that is, that functions off of money and jobs.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe we should. I think it's essential.
Well, so now here's the other side of it. Should we be teaching about money in churches? And I'll preface it this way, because it seems obvious at first, and you're like, yeah, of course. We should be teaching money in churches. We should be teaching people about finances and empowering them. You know about the churches that have programs that help people with houses and things like that, which is great. But at the same time, there's a different type of money thought in church and a different type of money thought out in the world. For example, in the world, we learn that you can learn that greed is good. In the church, you're gonna learn that greed is greed. Out there in the world, you're gonna learn things that are, I need to maximize my profit at all costs. And in the church, you learn that it's not like that. And then, honestly, out in the world, 1 + 1 = 2. In the church, 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2. 1 + 1 + God equals 1,000. And so, should money be taught in church? And one other thing, sometimes those ministries, those groups, those people who are so adamant about teaching money in church also lead into that prosperity ministry, where not all of them, but some of the prosperity ministries where it comes all about money, and a little bit about church. So should we be teaching money in church, or is that the inappropriate place? Like you were saying, the schools is good, leave it there. How do you feel about it?
No, I think it should be, if you do it the right way and you have the correct reasoning behind it. We have a lot of church leaders. I wouldn't call them pastors. We have a lot of church leaders in the world that literally are all about the mighty dollar.
Yeah.
They, I'm not going to mention this church leader's name, but he had an attitude. Yeah, he had an attitude. He was upset because his church wouldn't give enough for him to have a private jet. That's not why you're in existence, sir. Your existence is to spread the gospel of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, not to fly other places in a private jet to preach the word. You can get there how you get there. And the way I'm sure this man is getting there is already like first class anyway. So you have to have the right mindset for it. And at my church here in Charlotte, my pastor's on a sabbatical. And, with him being on a sabbatical, he has, his, brothers and sisters in the cloth that come and, do some, preaching in his absence. But some of the ministers and church leaders at my church, we had 2 Sundays of basically a financial word, which was rooted in prosperity, but also rooted in building the people of God, basically getting out of debt. Like you're putting yourself in debt. If you're in debt, how are you going to be able to function efficiently? They were talking about credit scores. They were talking about, not, really needing the 5,000 credit cards. They were talking about just being within your means and building what you have to have more abundant, finances. So it wasn't you make money so we can have money. It wasn't that. It was like we need to stop wasting our money. We need to stop, having things that are unnecessary for our life. We need to invest in what, we are, what we have, education. They were talking about student loans, how you need to pay your student loans off, make that primary. You need to not have student loans and things like that, avoiding credit. So it was, in my opinion, things like that are rooted in a positive direction for the church and the people. So if you have the right mindset, I definitely believe it should be done in church as well. I believe it should be done church, the house, the schoolhouse, God's house, every house.
Yeah. Well, let me play a little bit of an agitator here. The way we teach in the world and the way we teach in the church are going to be fundamentally different, or they should be fundamentally different. And I think some people would have a problem with that. And so I'll give you an example. In the world, it says, all right, you got this lady, we'll call her Miss Esther, who's been in your rental home for 10 years, a decade. And Miss Esther been paying $800. But then you go out on Zillow and you figure, oh man, I could be charging her $1,500. Now Miss Esther is on Social Security. And that's basically what she can afford. She probably can afford a little bit more. But you want to take her because that's what the world say, in order to maximize your earning potential, your IRA, your generational wealth, and your family, you need to take her from $800 to $1,500. That's what the world says. Now, if you at a church who's preaching, I would say, and this is my opinion, I would say something that's consistent with what the Word of God is. It would be, Miss Esther's situation. You know your situation. In them last 10 years, your mortgage ain't changed. You still get that 2% rate you got 10 years ago. So you still paying $500 or whatever. Miss Esther's paying $800. Yes, you can increase it a little bit more because we all know your gas bill and everything has gone up. So Miss Esther can go from $800 to $900, but it don't make no sense to take Miss Esther from $800 to $1,500 just because that's what the market says. And we know how hard it is for people to find affordable housing nowadays. That's problematic because on the one hand, you're sitting here, you're telling people, people are in the world, they're like, all right, man, we got to maximize. We got to get all of this money. We got to take care of ourselves and take care of our family. But I think the consistent part with the Word of God is going to be, you need to be taking care of everybody. The reason we have an affordable housing crisis is because we don't have people learning biblical finance principles. So do you think that that's going to be a problem? Because you're going to have people in that church like, look, I work for Bank of whatever. This is the way you're supposed to do things, not this way.
Yeah. I mean, in the world, by the world standards, it's all about the mighty dollar. But my thing is, I agree with you. Miss Esther shouldn't have to consider moving, out of her home for 10 years because we want to be greedy. Now, of course, the taxes go up. Yep. Insurance goes up. Yep. Right. So I do think you should, get that cost if you're renting. But a $700 jump, that's not cool. That's definitely putting Miss Esther in a predicament. But with how inflation is and how insurance, I have to pay over $1,000 for my escrow, or my mortgage is going to go up. And I'm in education. I don't need that to happen. It's going up anyway because insurance and things like that. Right. So, that's not bad if it's like $100, maybe $150. But people on a fixed income should not have to make life-changing decisions when they don't have to. So, but the thing is, people are just greedy. People are I can charge Miss Esther extra $700 a month. Well, come on. I mean, you can get Miss Esther to move out and have somebody pay that $1,500. But how is that pleasing the Lord? How is that pleasing Christ? Yeah. Because either way, if Miss Esther has to move, she's going to pay a lot more anyway, just because of how the market is. And the thing is, the market is a market. Is how much money can we make, regardless of who we're getting it from. We just need to make money to fatten our pockets.
Yeah. No, I think that's the interesting part about when we decide that we want to educate people in church. It's that question of, what the world says, or what the, and I'll be even more frank with it, what the correct financial advice is versus what the godly financial advice is. And those two things are not necessarily going to take you to the same place. If you don't charge Miss Esther that full amount, you might not be a millionaire in 5 years if you got multiple properties or whatever. But that's for me, that's the correct way to, charging her and allowing her to stay in her home and knowing that you can still live and be fine is the correct biblical way to go. And I do think that's going to be a lot of problems with a lot of folks, because once you start getting up in there and you start talking about money, people, this how you do it, man. You got to do this. Get yours. Right.
You don't have to kick anybody, and you don't have to kick anybody while they're down to get yours. If you have to kick somebody while they're down for you to get yours, is yours really worth it?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, we have a comment. Finance and money management should be offered in church, but not as a source of blessing. Some believe God bless those who bless themselves. Sister Esther may have to move. I've got to get my blessing. Yeah. That comes back to that. I don't know if you ever heard this when people be like, oh yeah, God blessed me with this nice Cadillac, and now them dirty little kids in my neighborhood can't come to church. I can't take them to church no more because my Cadillac too nice, and I don't want them messing
Yeah.
up my seats.
Mhm.
It's that kind of thing where your blessing, you got to move some people out the way in order to get your blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. How is that helping? How is that helping?
Yeah.
That's not a Christ-like principle, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, cool. So while I got you here, let me ask you. I'm gonna ask you from you on in the regular streets, and you from a moral man.
Mhm.
You mess around and you get a ticket and you win this $1 billion or this $800 million from the streets, from the inside. What should you do? And then from a good standpoint, what should be the first thing that you do? So first, tell me if from the good standpoint, you're sitting here in front of your mama and she's like, well, what you gonna do with the money? And you got to tell her something good. What would be the first thing that you would do with that?
Well, being a man of the Lord, you see, I am going. What is the jackpot now for Powerball? What
It's
is it?
two of them. One is
Yeah, I
$1
know
billion,
Mega
and
Millions
the
is
other one
high
is like
too.
almost $1 billion. Yeah, like 800.
Okay, 800. I remember seeing 875. I think, or 825.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but either way. So you take the state has to get there. So you got your taxes, right? So if it's 800 million right now, take about 2 million off that. So you got $600 million, right? So anybody that has a problem paying their tithe, having $600 million cash, don't know Jesus. So you got $600 million, and all you need to do is give 60 million, right? Is that right?
Yep.
That's 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, that's a lot of money, man. $60 million is going to hook a lot of people up.
Yeah.
Like everybody, every church that I spent time with is getting some money. Fifth Street Baptist Church is getting some money. Metropolitan African American Baptist Church is getting some money. Imani Christian Ministries is getting some money. University Park Baptist Church is getting some money. Greater Salem is getting some money. Like, okay, that's 5 homes, right? Houses of the Lord. Like, right. I can give 1 million and they're happy.
Right.
Each of those churches will be happy, literally will be happy with 100,000.
Right.
But I have 60 million to give away. Right? I'm like, people are gonna love me, but I say, don't love me, love Jesus. So it's like people, people are gonna eat. But my biggest thing that I would do, of course, you give to where you grew and are growing spiritually and getting closer to the Lord. You give there. Because every church is supposed to, if I'm giving money, the church is going to use that money to give to others.
Yeah.
So it's like a branch, it's like a tree and branches just spreading. So that's what I would do first. And that's what my mother would say. And that's what I'm sure all the preachers that know me would say. But after that, I'm getting people off the street, man. My biggest issue with the world, with society, is we have too much money. Mm-hmm. We have too many resources for our people to be sleeping and living on the street.
Yeah.
Some of those situations, people make their own decisions. Yeah. They are there. They put themselves there. But sometimes people just fall on hard times, man. And I get sick when I see people literally living on the street. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would do. I would literally do something, start a program where I would aim for families first with kids, because I've had kids that are homeless, and that when you see them, it's heartbreaking. So I would aim for families first, and then get individuals off through some kind of program, getting them off the street. And I know enough people, especially when you hit that money, you're gonna have enough people asking you for a lot of things. But you got to have some people that you can trust to help you with this programming. So that's one big thing I would do. Then, of course, everybody's house will be paid off. Everybody's mortgage will be gone. Everybody's car will be paid off. Like, You know, I'm not giving all my millions away like that.
Right.
But those who I know love and appreciate will have less burden, if you will. But you know, the thing is, if you won 660, if you have $600 million, it's easy to spend, but I mean, it's a lot to spend. So, you know, you actually, you know, see people's greed and people's real heart when they have those resources. So it's interesting to see. You know, sometimes you can look in the mirror. Like, if I won $1 million tomorrow, how am I going to act? I never had it before.
Right.
So it's like one of those things where you really got to be prayed up. You really got to have your mindset on Christ, because, you know, money is the root of all evil. Like, you know, what did the OJ say? And then almighty dollar, women will sell their precious body. Like, people will do all kinds of foolishness for that almighty dollar. So, you know, you got to stay prayed up, man. You got to.
Yeah. All right. And the other part of it, what's one crazy thing just for yourself that you would go ahead and get?
What I would get, man.
They got nothing to do with blessing other people. Everywhere you got that one thing you're gonna be like, man, I'm gonna buy me a gold toilet. Like, what's that one thing you're gonna do?
You know what, man? And the thing is, like, I don't want for much. I don't want for much, because I would definitely get my my dream vehicle. All I want is an F-150. That's all I want. Like that's all I want. I don't need like a Benz and all that. I want a big truck, right? But I'm in a situation now I can get that maybe in a year or so. Yeah, you know? But I would definitely get a house. But the thing is, I don't need one of those. I don't need Neverland Ranch. You know, I don't need all that. I don't need that, but I would definitely get some things that, you know, aren't crazy. I wouldn't get anything crazy, man. I'm not going to buy a giraffe, you know. Like, you know, and the thing is, I never had that much money, but I've been blessed enough where I can get a lot of what I have, all I need, but I can get some things I want. And I never, you know, I just want to take care of other people. You know, I want to make sure everybody else is good. You know, because I never really thought about it like, oh man, I'm gonna buy Europe. Like, what am I gonna do with Europe? What am I gonna do with Europe? Bring more black people there? I don't know what I do with Europe. So, you know, I don't know, man. I definitely buy my house, buy another house, and buy property, and, you know, get people off the street, man. That's one big thing is, man, you know, we've been blessed. We have all we need and a lot of what we want, but some people don't. So one thing I would definitely do is put people in a situation where they can be off the street, but not only off the street, where they can be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I thought about this a long time. Like, man, how am I gonna get homeless people off the street? Start a program, give them this. They have this amount of time to get themselves in order, get a job, get their foundation, and then when they get all that, you're on your own, you know. Yeah. But you know, that would be the biggest blessing. Blessing others, man. Like, you know, blessing others is the biggest thing. Making sure everybody else can literally have a,
you know,
high quality life.
That's one of the. I think that's good. Like that's good all the way around. You hit some real big keys. One of the things, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you know, being happy and being content in where you at. You know, that I think that's probably one of the most important things. Another thing, even though we sat here and we talked about financial literacy, it doesn't matter if you don't have any money. Like, you could be the smartest person in the world when it comes to money. It's like investing, or even like investing. If you ain't got no money to invest, it don't matter. You can't make no money. It takes a lot of money in investing to make money, because you're only making 10% return, maybe, if you're really good, 5% return annually. So if you ain't got nothing, 5% of a dollar you ain't about to retire off of that. I believe you got compound interest or whatever you want to put into it. Same thing if you want to gamble, you want to sit out here and be like, man, I'm gonna hit the number, and then I'm boom, 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 boom. You ain't got no money, and I'm not talking about the lotto, because that only you pay your, I don't know how much the ticket costs, $3, $1, $5.
I think it's $2.
But even if you wanted, you knew that this horse was gonna win the race. Somebody hooked you up and they told you the horse was going to win the race. You ain't got no money. You still can't win. And so I think that's one of the problems with financial literacy sometimes when we talk about at the end of the day, what you said and what other ministries and people do, it does not matter how much you have. I mean, how much knowledge you have. If you ain't got it, and if you're in a bad situation, then you ain't got it. And we got to help people out. And so even when we teach that in the church or we teach that in school, one of the main things we got to teach is if you don't have nothing to start with, we got to learn how to help people to get them a starting point.
Exactly right. And it's all about it. It's all about education.
Yeah. And so and we've got a comment to much is given, much is required. And to whoever wins that money, hopefully it's Steve. Or somebody else that we know.
We're going somewhere. I don't know where we're going, but we're gonna have fun. I don't know what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it.
Right.
We going somewhere, we're gonna do something.
Yeah, but to whoever wins that money, I hope that they are a blessing, to us.
That's all that's what it's about, man.
Yeah, because I definitely hope they are a blessing. One of the great people in this world right now is her name is lost her, Mackenzie. I'm trying to think of her last name, but she was married to Bezos. Mackenzie Bezos is what her name used to be. She was married to the billionaire owner of Amazon, and they divorced. And she got billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. Woo! And she's been giving it all, like not all, but she's been giving it away. She's definitely helped a lot of organizations. She helped a lot of HBCUs. So we give kudos to people when they do that. And so whoever gets this money, even though you won't have billions upon billions like she has, I hope you're a blessing to other people. So if y'all didn't hear anything today, you hear what Steve said about being a blessing, when you receive that money. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Steve, I want to thank you for joining us and giving us your opinions here. As always, we remind people that, we have Thursday, our weekly Bible study. That's on Thursday, same place, 7:00 every Thursday. Sundays, if you want to watch us for service, 10:00, YouTube, Facebook as well, and our website. And then every Tuesday, we have Impact 2024. And also at 7:00, we have prayer together from 7 to 7:45. All right. And please continue to join us. Join us again. Steve, thank you again for your thoughts. And everybody have a good one.